funny the way things happen, but it reminds you a lot of the way it was at Marine Corps.
Really?
Yeah, you need to check that.
I'm gonna have to check it out now.
Yeah.
Now I want to see it.
It's on LPB on. I guess it's on the. You know, they have three
24.
It's on 24, but you have now you have Create and you have something else.
I know, now they have all kind of LPBs.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah,
that. It's
yeah.
craziness.
Yeah.
So many.
That's with the new digital age.
Was Mervyn Cons your first job or no?
It was my first full-time job, yes. I had worked some part-times
In
elsewhere.
high school?
Yeah, there was a dairy near where we lived. I'd worked there some during the summer and other little jobs, but it's my first full-time job, yes.
How was your experience as your first job? Was you think it was a good first job, or you think?
It was a good experience. It wasn't a high-paying job. Back then, you didn't have an hourly wage like you have now. You didn't have. I think I hired on at $85 a month.
For 40 hours a week?
Oh, maybe 48 hours a week.
Oh.
Worked Monday through Saturday.
48 hours a week. Oh.
Monday through Saturday. And then during the holidays, we stay open a couple hours later, and same salary. You know, we did get a Christmas party one time. Yeah.
How was that? They didn't mind having a Christmas party even though they were Jewish?
No, because they. I'm gonna tell you about Mr. Arnold, Mr. Leo, and his brother. I'm not gonna think of his brother's name now. His brother was our manager. I guess you could say he was the son-in-law. He was the father-in-law of our manager that stayed in the store, but he walked around and came and visited us every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, both those boys went to Catholic school. When Mr. Kahn first moved here and opened the store, and they really had no formal education other than the Catholic school at the time. They didn't have public education like they have now, and they went to Catholic school.
That must have been kind of weird.
I guess.
For them.
But they were good. They were great donators to the church. Yes, they were.
Really?
Yes, they did. They gave a lot to the church, and they had their own faith.
Mm-hmm. They still celebrated Jewish holidays and things like that, though.
We were off on their Jewish holidays. The stores were closed, and they would also close on Christmas and Easter.
Wow.
Yeah, well, Easter was a Sunday, so they weren't open on Sundays anyway. So.
But they were open on Saturdays, which is the Jewish Sabbath.
The Sabbath. We may have. Would that be like Yom Kippur or one of those? There was a. I can't remember the exact names of the Jewish holidays, but they would. They would close on their Jewish holidays, whatever they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was. And so did the little five and dime store across the. So did the little five and dime store was also owned by a Jewish family, so they would close on the Jewish holidays also.
They were too. Were they connected or no? They just happened to be both Jewish.
No, the Rosenbaums. I don't think the Rosenbaums were kin
to
the Kahns.
No, they were just Jewish.
The man that owned the paper drugstore over here was a cousin, I think,
of the Kahns.
He was a Kahn. Yeah, and. I actually worked here a couple of months.
You worked here too?
Yeah, and next block at Kennedy's store. I worked in the grocery department there at Kennedy's for a couple of years. Yeah.
So why did you work here for a couple of months? Are you just happy?
It was I was between jobs. I had when I left Marine Cons, I went for 2 months.
Service. Mm-hmm.
And I came back. They'd already replaced my job. I went to work at Kennedy's, worked there a couple of years, and then I had to go to school again. This was for a railroad school. I was going to learn how to do telegraphy and all that good stuff, and had to go to Kansas City for the final classes, and it just didn't work out. I dropped out of that and moved back. And then that's when I got the job at
Over here. Mm-hmm.
And this one worked for a couple months, and I guess he had to cut back or something. And I got laid off, and that's when I moved to Texas. Somebody offered me a job in Texas. I moved and been there ever since. until about 4.5 years ago, I came back.
So whenever you worked at Mervyn Cons, did they have to train you a lot? Was there a lot of training involved in that?
It was on the job training.
Just kind of put you in and said, this is what you do?
This is what you do, this is what you do. And we had to, whenever you, there was no cash registers. You didn't handle money except through that tubing system.
I saw that they were showing us the tubes.
Tubing,
But you added it up, or?
Yeah, you had a little receipt book,
Mm-hmm.
and you wrote all the items down, how many and how much, and you calculated it.
You had a calculator?
Well, no, we had no calculator.
Oh,
brain.
calculator.
That's when we had to use our minds. Our mind God give us. Anyway, you send it upstairs. They had a calculator upstairs, and they'd calculate it, make sure you made it right, and they'd make change and send it back to the tube.
So what did you do? Like, I know you told me you did like the service work sometimes, like you help them set up their stuff that they bought, and you were a salesman on the floor? Was that like your main job?
Yeah, mainly was a salesman on the floor, and I'd help in the whenever merchandise would come in, I'd help one of the ladies mark and unpack and mark the merchandise. We'd get a lot of figurines and such as that, and plates and sauces and such we had to mark it as it came in. It came in these big boxes with straw, and you had to take them out of the straw and wipe them real good. And
straw.
Straw. A lot of came from, a lot of it was made in Japan or foreign import type stuff, and it came packed in straw.
I guess that's before they had peanuts. Like everything comes in foam peanuts. Yeah. So I guess
straw
was just around.
I don't think styrofoam was invented then.
Yeah, no. So it was straw. Interesting. That's a new one. Was Mervyn Cons a place where people really wanted to work, or like how did people feel about working there?
I think people enjoyed working there. It was a nice place, a nice environment. You're expected to do your work. Give you one instance when I was reprimanded. We had a punch clock would come in. Everybody came in the front door and ready to wear, and there was a punch clock just to the left. You punched in and went to work, and at lunch you'd punch out. And I might add that the ladies were given an extra 10 minutes to punch out. They punch back in. They were given an hour and 10 minutes instead of just an hour.
Why was that? What did they need 10 extra minutes for?
I don't know. Yeah. Those ladies need more time, But anyway, I
wonder if they got paid an hour less at the end of the month. Like, I'm trying to calculate what the 10 minutes before.
I don't know. I do recall it was 10 minutes. Anyway, I don't remember how many minutes it was. It was just a few minutes late punching in. And a day or so later, I can't remember how long it'd been after this happened, I got called into the office.
For a few minutes?
For a few minutes.
Oh, they ran a tight ship.
Yeah, they did run a tight ship. Mr. Jankar was the, I guess what you call it, I don't know what I guess he was like the general manager, and he was the one that recommended me. I didn't lose my job, but I was reprimanded.
Dang, for a couple minutes.
I said a couple minutes. It might have been more. I don't recall how many minutes it was, but it wasn't very much. And I thought it was. I'm kind of like you. I thought it was kind of unfair that the ladies got 10 minutes.
What were they doing for 10 minutes?
I didn't argue with him about it. I just said, yes, sir, I won't do it again. And of course, at that time, I was also in the National Guard, so I had a good little income.
Because the National Guard
would pay on a 3 month. I think every 3 months you'd get a check. It was like a quarterly check. It wasn't a lot, but it was. Then you get a little bit more when you went for the 2 weeks. So I lose my vacation time.
Because you'd have to
I
go
had
over
to
there.
go for 2 weeks in International Guard. That was another adventure. The first year I was in the National, I was still in high school then, my last year of high school. And I caught poison ivy real bad. And that's how I got put in the kitchen as a cook, because the next year they wouldn't allow me to go out in the field.
Really?
And I had poison ivy from my shoulders on down to my hands. I was dripping wet, dripping with blister. Oh, it was bad.
Wow.
But anyway, so that's how I became a cook. Not that I knew how to cook, but
I was wondering how you got there, but I just figured you knew, so they put you there.
No.
No?
No. I could have. I probably did as much KP as I did cooking, but I stayed the whole 9 years. Well, actually 8 years here, and I transferred 1 year into Texas. Finished my 9 years in Texas.
Do you feel that they trusted their employees and that it was they had faith in it, they had a lot of confidence in their employees? Or how did you think they felt towards their employees?
I never felt like, well, they had I guess what you'd call floor walkers that would walk around and in each department, Mr. Khan, Mr. Leo's brother, and I'm still trying to recall his name. I can't remember his name. Jules, I guess, or something like that. Julian Khan. That was his name. He would come, walk around, and he wouldn't talk much. He just wouldn't question much. He just see how things were going, and he'd walk on to do something else, I guess. He'd stay in our department a lot, but and then we had his son-in-law was the manager, or his